We need to talk about Islam.
Ah, the religion of peace. How exciting this is gonna be.
You know that religion with 1.6 billion people comprising about 25% of the world's population? Yeah, that Islam.
Oh, that Islam. Which other Islams are there out there? I can only recall the one religion at the moment that worships the Quran.
You see, Islam is currently the world's second largest religion. Christians, don't worry, you're still number one.
Do you really think that the Christians are the only people who have a problem with Islam? Anyone who believes in Western society, a true democracy, freedom of speech, and freedom of expression has an issue with Islam. How about those Christians in the Middle East being beheaded by ISIS in the name of Islam? Do you think that is legitimate enough to have a problem with your religion?
Even though it's been around for 1,400 years, Islam is still woefully misunderstood, especially in the United States.
No, Americans have a problem with Islam because they've seen the actions of Islamic extremists in their own backyard.
Despite what your crazy but lovable uncle says on Facebook, Islam does not promote hate.
Well, unfortunately for your narrative, my uncle served in the United States Marine Corps. I don't need to turn to him to figure out that Islam does promote hate. All you have to do is open the Quran and read these pages. You can simply Google the Prophet Muhammad and figure out he encouraged the death of Christians, Jews, and non-believers. Seriously, Huffington Post, do you really have to make it this simple?
I'm not commanded to kill the infidels. Quran. The Quran, as a whole, promotes faith, hope, and peace.
Oh, come on. I just proved to you that Islam promotes hate, which means it doesn't promote peace. If you study the Quran, even a little bit, you'll figure out that Islam promotes hate. And you telling us that it doesn't, even though you know what's in the Quran, you aren't a real Muslim. And therefore, you are full of shit.
So, when you see stuff like this, know that it's always taken out of context.
Al Akbar, Huffington Post.
And if you don't believe me, let's ask the experts.
Also hired by the Huffington Post to lie, like every other SJW feminist, non-male, non-white, non-Jew, non-Christian, non-cis creature.
If I were to open up a book like Harry Potter and just chose one line where it's the excruciatus spell, where it's like, cause the most pain you possibly can and say, this is what Harry Potter is teaching. That's sort of how people look at the Quran.
You can't compare a holy text of your religion to a fictional novel. When the Quran says you're allowed to beat your wife in a certain way, it means you can do just that because the text says it's okay. That is not out of context.
Sharia. Politicians seem to be obsessed with this Arabic word.
What is this thing that we call Sharia?
Sharia.
51%, highly respected number of polling groups, want to be governed according to Sharia. You know what Sharia is?
A lot of people don't actually know what Sharia is.
If you don't know what Sharia is, all you have to do is Google it. But wait, let's hear the completely unbiased Huffington Post video.
Sharia is often translated as law. It doesn't really mean that. It means a path or guidance. How do you give charity? How do you get married? How do you pray? It's guidelines on how to live your life.
Oh, and an FYI, trolls, there are currently 0 bills in Congress trying to institute Sharia. That's a conspiracy theory, and a pretty dumb one.
This fucking speaks for itself, people. You really can't make this shit up. Sharia law is threatening America because our government wants to let in Syrian refugees without screening, some of which do believe in Sharia. These laws are bounded on Islam in some Middle Eastern countries, countries where homosexuality is unacceptable, people can be executed for it. You can beat your wife, you can fuck her, even when you think she's ready, quote unquote. So basically what Muhammad did. And you can stone her for being raped. Yet, feminists complain all the time about rape culture in America, but will call you out on Islamophobia, even though rape in these countries are through the fucking roof. They are nowhere to be found on true misogyny in the world, in fact. These people defend it. But don't look at it that way. They're all for equality. Hashtag not all. Fucking hell.
Jihad. America is only familiar with jihad in its most violent form, the idea that Islam should defend itself against those who wish to tear it down. It's an Arabic word that means exerted effort or struggle to better oneself. So Muslims can do a jihad to get more sleep, to go out on more dates, to get their lazy butt off the ground and hit the gym, all legitimate forms of jihad.
Jihad can also mean a religious effort to maintain and spread the religion. You forgot about that part. By any means necessary.
Hijab. There is a strange, sick obsession with Muslim women who cover their hair. The internet is filled with images and commentary about Muslim women fashion and appearances written by people who frankly don't understand it or are afraid of it.
Sir, I don't think people are afraid of a misogynistic, totalitarian, authoritarian dress code. They cover their hair because their religion tells them to do so.
In the Quran, there are about two verses amongst 6,000 verses that address how we should conduct ourselves when we talk about modesty. Hijab is actually not a word that's used in the Quran. I choose to dress this way. For me, it really is an outside expression.
Really? It says right here, women of Islam are not allowed to show their beauty. If it is a choice for you, then why do really no other women besides Muslims wear hijabs?
Of an inward experience.
People tend to think Muslim women are limited, and honestly, some are.
Do you really think it's some? Have you been to Raqqa recently? How about Syria, Iran, Afghanistan, Libya, Pakistan, UAE? Anywhere in the Middle East? Recently? No, you haven't, because you're that fucking ignorant to only represent them as some Muslims. For Christ's sake, these women can't even walk outside without beer. They are getting their genitals mutilated in the name of Islam. Without choice. Fuck off, Huffington Post. Just fuck off. You're all horrible fucking people, and you should all be ashamed of yourselves. Fucking disgusting.
However, reality check. There have been way more female heads of state in Muslim countries than in the United States.
Can a woman run for president in a Muslim country? In America, you can be a woman and be a criminal.
There are a few Muslim countries, such as Saudi Arabia, that limit Muslim women's rights.
Wow, they actually admitted one Islamic country oppresses women. How about the others that surround the UAE and in the Middle East? The ones that I've mentioned earlier. How about why this refugee crisis is happening?
They're taking God-given rights that God has given to women and imposing their own views and opinions on what it is that women need to do and not do.
Knowing is half the battle, darling.
They're the ones that are contradicting Islam. They're the ones that are bringing in alien influences into the faith, not the other way around.
No, they aren't. That is how an Islamic governmental system is carried out and is run.
Arab. Do not assume an Arab equals a Muslim or a Muslim equals an Arab. Let me break it down. Muslim is a term that refers to a person who follows a religion.
Did I at any point in this video call you or anyone else in that video an Arab?
Of Islam. Arab is a cultural, linguistic, and ethnic term broadly referring to Arabic-speaking people in the Middle East and North Africa.
Yes, not all Muslims are Arab, and I think it's important for people to know that also. But your text is written in Arab, and Muslims in the Middle East speak it, so it is appropriate to call those who speak it in the Middle East Arab.
There are millions of non-Muslims in Arab-majority countries who happen to be Christian, Zoroastrian, Baha'i, even atheists.
It isn't a surprise to me because those religions are in the Middle East too. You know, the religions and beliefs that you persecute. Don't forget Judaism.
Hopefully, this has cleared up some of the garbage that jams up your news feed. And remember, Islam, like any other religion, is complex and requires more than one video to understand it.
But thankfully, your friends at the Huffington Post have given you one that can change your mind.
So, keep reading, talk to actual Muslims, visit a mosque.
Oh, you can visit a mosque. Just don't go with a woman. They'll segregate you from her. Just ask Justin Trudeau how that went, the Prime Minister of Canada, who went to a mosque in Ottawa recently.
And remember, an entire religion can never be summed up in just one meme.
Just remember, Islam is a religion of peace. They didn't do nothing. So cut the shit, or you're an Islamophobic, racist asshole. Yours truly, the Huffington Post. P.S. Fuck Catholicism and Judaism, and atheism, and all of the non-believers of Islam and challenge us.